Friends, welcome back to our channel. I am
Welcome
my
back.
blood pressure is freaking sky high today. um, uh,
We
yeah,
had a great show today. Obviously, it's
Kabul
interesting because we have been discussing Afghanistan topic
for a while.
a couple times, and before all this disaster happened, and
Yeah, uh,
it's amazing. I said like before end of the year, I assumed that they would put
I
up.
said last week. I said a week.
Yeah,
That
but I'm just saying like when initially like we had the discussion like last month or a couple months ago, I said
yeah,
like before end of the year because I assume there's going to be some kind of like a planning actually getting. And I think what the mistake they did, not the military, maybe just civilian, obviously suits making decision rather than the military, is to give up the Bagram airport. I mean the
yeah.
airbase because the Kabul airport is close to the embassy compound, meaning and is in Kabul. So any kind of if Taliban, the way that the city fell, they could easily with choppers if they maintain like there's not much around Bagram, so it's much easier to secure it, and it was secure.
It was
So
secure,
they could
and
just take the embassy people or U.S. nationals or other foreigners. They could just, airlift them over there. They didn't need the planes, So you see people with the C-17 in Kabul airport, people flying off and just hanging. Is like a World War Z movie, It's
yeah.
like the end of the world, hanging from the plane. Like they don't understand. Like it's just
Look,
chaos, right? If they had the Bagram Air Base, that wouldn't happen. You still would have a lot of military presence, and once you're done, because there's nothing in proximity of it, you can secure it.
It's about 4 miles away from 4 to 5 miles away from Kabul. It was a secured compound. It was U.S. airfield. Like they built it. It was
The
specifically.
Soviet built it initially.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they improved it. They
they improved
upgraded
it.
it.
Yeah.
The
It was
land
like a
strip.
base. It was
The
secure.
land
It
strip was
was
upgraded.
yeah.
It was completely redone, and choppers, airplanes, everything.
Fighter
Most
jets.
important was security. It was a secured compound. But the first thing they did was abandon background.
Abandoned that, and then
Abandoned, meaning they left
that you get stuck with the
everything.
embassy. You can't fly out of the embassy
Abandoned the most secure site
that they had.
that they had. So here's the thing. They abandoned the most secure site that they had. Then the dumb analysts who work for this administration, oh, we don't anticipate it falling in within 90 days. And, here we have strategic planning in place, blah, 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 blah. Then you have the dumbass in the office say, I don't see Kabul falling in the hands of Taliban. They are not advancing as fast as we think they are. And, within 10 days, they took over Kabul. Now, he shipped back 6,000
I think that
troops. Hold on. He shipped back 6,000 troops. 6,000. 6,000 troops to extract U.S. citizens. And then he states, U.S. personnel don't have priority over Afghan citizens. So
approximately, they said anywhere between 10 to 40,000.
60. It's 60,000 Afghans.
No,
60,000.
no,
Yes.
U.S. persons. That means
No,
it
no, no,
could be
no.
Afghans, dual citizens, Afghan nationals, but they're U.S. citizens.
Possibly.
Other
But
citizens, U.S. citizens, or just
of
U.S. citizens, businesses, or contractors.
No, not U.S., not just U.S. There's not 60,000 U.S.
Other
citizens.
foreigners,
These are 60,000
foreigners.
Afghans who aided the U.S. military
No,
at
that's
what
separate. They were talking
at
about
whatever
like a
capacity.
10,000 or so,
And
just
then and then they use
foreigners.
Kabul Airport, international airport. Have you ever been to Kabul Airport? They don't have TSA there. I'm just saying. There's no TSA. It's not a secure compound. USA. These people are morons with their foreign
Well,
policy.
anybody could see that coming, but I give you some different insight. The different insight is everybody are shocked that how quickly
I'm not
Taliban was able to take over the entire country. But this is
They embarrassed
shows
ISIS.
no. This shows lack of understanding of how guerrilla warfare, how this kind of like an insurgency, how this kind of warfare works. They assume everybody watching TV, Afghanistan took over this province. The Taliban
Yeah.
took over this province, this city. They are in Kabul all of a sudden, right? The thing is, they were already there. They're already there. They just get activated. You know what I'm saying?
The funny
So they
thing
had the
is-
fighters and elements in each province, in each city. It wasn't like, oh, they just started jogging or marching from Pakistan,
Literally, they just
going
drove in.
all over Afghanistan.
Literally.
No, a lot.
I don't know, but look. Literally,
They were
just,
there.
I know. Literally, they just drove in and they took over.
Their
With-
stronghold are in rural
this is-
areas, smaller towns,
know,
and
but
smaller
what I'm trying-
villages. So literally outside of Herat. So it wasn't like somebody from Pakistan just riding a motorcycle and just or bicycle.
No,
going
what
over
I'm
there.
what
It's
I'm
just-
trying to say,
They're already there.
what I'm trying to say
They just
is
get activated.
they literally drove into the provinces and the villages. Because the people there are not armed. They can't defend themselves. So they're going to submit whether you like it or not, because you have rebels taking over the town. Whether they were housed there or they drove there, it doesn't matter. These people were already ready to take over. They just were waiting for the right time. And the right time was when they abandoned Bagram.
Abandoned Bagram.
That was their cue to go in. Once they abandoned Bagram, that was their sign. He's like, hey, the most secured area that they could actually fly jets and fighter jets out of there. If there's a insurgency going on in a different
they
province,
can't bomb, they can't do
10 minutes of a flight, they could just bomb an area where Taliban was being actively.
It's not like that. They're
But I'm
scared
just
people.
saying,
It's just,
like,
but at
example.
least they could evacuate. They
Right.
could evacuate.
So So right now the United. No, what do they call them now? Some Emirate of
No, the Emirates, Islamic
Emirate of Afghanistan.
Yes.
So that's the new title. So
The reason for Emirates is because they're very tribal. Actually,
Correct.
the United Arab Emirates,
Yeah.
they're actually very tribal. So the
So-
three kingdoms, like they get three caliphs running the. Like
here's
the
what's
UAE,
next. This
join.
is what's going to happen next. Okay, while Taliban was in hiding or while they were fighting Americans and the Afghan military, they had shadow governors in every province. So what are shadow governors? It's like having a shadow government, like having a shadow
They
government.
have parallel government.
So now
Parallel government.
those shadow governors will become the actual governors of those provinces, and within a month or so, I will give it.
facto.
I will give it about a month or so. Now they'll be officially taking their spots. They'll be officially in charge of Kabul. Whoever the leader of Taliban will. It'll be like the Iranian construct. They're gonna have a supreme leader, not a supreme, but they will have it like a. They will have a
They always
leader.
have a council.
They will
That's
have a
right.
council. They will have a parliament. They will set up all the stuff.
Not the parliament. They, get
They
like a
will.
Tribal,
Well, I
tribal
mean, yes,
council,
but like
tribal
in
council.
a sense, I'm trying to have it make sense for people who don't know how the tribal thing works. So we'll call it the parliament at this point. So they'll have their
Yeah,
advisors.
but parliament is like you're saying, or somebody's get elected. So that's not actually informing people in a sense. They get tribal council. So that means between
selected
the
by the
tribal
leadership.
elders, whoever is the influential family in each tribe and sub-tribes and the clan, they would have representation. So it's not all somebody just going voting for a Mullah Ghazanfar and
Yeah, but I don't think
there's no voting.
It's not going to happen now. This will happen down the line. At this point, what's going to happen, as we mentioned in the last
Actually,
episode,
that's a very representative system. they don't have popular elections.
exactly. So as we mentioned in the last as we mentioned in the last episode, it's going to be a bloody transition. Okay, they're going door to door trying to find informants, people who work for the U.S. government. They're slaying them and their families. They're trying to basically show to these people,
Now
you
they
know,
try to be nice,
yeah.
but that's has like a two.
We
It could be two
look.
situation.
We called it. We called it last week. I called it last week of how it's going to end up, and that's what's happening now. So within a few months, month or so, you're going to see normalization, Taliban normalization coming into Afghanistan. Basically, Taliban's going to rule. Then within 6 months or so, maybe a year, maybe UN is going to basically recognize Afghanistan as a sovereign country under the Taliban ruling. Taliban will become basically the ruler of Afghanistan. So this is Iran's revolution all over again, but in a different country, technically.
Just different way.
Different way.
But interesting. I mean, obviously, Iran already was in dialogue with them,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Iran is going to recognize them. Russia is going to
Oh yeah,
recognize
so
them.
they're gonna get
A
aid
lot of
from
countries-
China, Iran,
Which
and
I
Russia.
think, in a sense, is going to be a good thing because, unlike '90s, if there are like more countries recognizing them, it would help to sustain their economy.
Iraq's next,
And
by the way.
also that kind of like a diplomatic relationship, hopefully that would help them to kind of have just a much more moderate administration of government. Kind of like, I don't hold my breath, we will see how soon the beheadings are going to start. And
They already started.
you
They're
know,
already doing it.
yeah, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like in a
Public
old school
way.
base,
Yeah, or the public way.
not one, like that's
Yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
just like a normal.
So,
you would have group of
future,
people.
future prediction: Iraq's next. Iraq's gonna eventually kick out U.S. out of Iraq. Iraqis, they will kick out U.S. out
Yeah,
of
we don't have
Iraq.
much
We don't
presence
need.
there.
We don't need to be there anyways. We have lost the strongholds that we had, like presence that we had in that region, so it's gone.
This
That's
is
it.
actually, to me, is more dangerous for Taiwan situation rather than Middle East.
Yes,
Because
I
we are
was gonna actually
already
get
pulling
there.
out of the Middle East. So we are already pulled out of the Middle East. So pretty much the Middle East, Iran is going to be the dominant security power in the Middle East. And the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, sooner or later, once they realize that there's going to be no outside support coming physically to save their behind, they're going to fall in line and they're going to be, trying to have negotiations and be in good terms with Iran.
Stand by for the peace talk of Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Secondly, another evidence of that is that Russia and China now want Iran to become part of the Shanghai Pact. So the Shanghai Pact actually is Russia and China's started in the 90s, I think it was 96, to be kind of like a NATO-like for Asia, but most likely the main countries were Russia and China, and then some Central Asian countries, Tajikistan, obviously Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, they're nothing. So it was mainly just Russia and China. And now understanding the importance of this rise of Iran as far as becoming a dominant security country in the Middle East, now it was an observer country for many years. Now they actually want Iran to become an official member of the pact. So meaning this has not only like an economical, and it's like a 2.2, almost like a half of the world population falls under it, because now India and Pakistan are part of it too. They are members. So a few years ago they become members. So literally China, India, Pakistan, highly populated countries, and obviously Russia and a few Central Asian countries. Even Turkey is kind of like a participant member, because under Erdogan they want to look more toward the East, Ottoman Empire. They kind of gave up to become part of European Union, and is the only NATO country actually is part of kind of like, they put them on like an energy something. I was reading about it today. So that's kind of like actually strengthen their security cooperation. So meaning if there's going to be any kind of all-out war against one of those members, it's like they're going to act like NATO. So it's going to be like a World War situation if somebody's attacking Russia. So that's going to be, but it's like interesting, all of this soup started boiling at the same time. So we'll see how it goes.
I think we should have done this 15 years ago. To my honest opinion, as right after Osama was killed, we should have just pulled out and
Well, that was 10 years ago.
I mean, yeah, 10 years ago, whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
He wasn't even there, but close enough.
Where?
He was in Pakistan.
Who?
Bin Laden.
No, I know. I'm just saying we should have pulled out of Afghanistan 15
Right.
years ago. Because we went in there to like freaking teach Taliban a lesson, kill some people and get the hell out. But we stayed there to, bring democracy and infrastructure and, billions of dollars wasted for nothing. And back to square one, basically. I mean, literally, we went there, we spent trillions
it's
of
worse than that.
We went there.
It's
Well,
worse
I
than
know, but look, we went there. We spent trillions of dollars.
much
Basically,
worse.
we took all that money, dumped it in there, have it catch on fire, and we just pulled out. 20
It's
years
worse
later.
than that because this
gonna
situation
be
is
worse.
totally just damaged. I don't even think pull out
Security-wise,
of
yes.
Iraq, none of the Benghazi disaster, none of those cause this kind of international, just the collapse of like a U.S. image that would, I mean, the images were so vivid. You know what I'm saying? People in just Kabul screaming, people in just running, dropping off the C-17 up in the sky, holding onto the plane in order to get the hell out of there.
And
It just so is never going to be forgotten. You know what I'm
It's-
saying? And
the-
that, as I said, is going to just make the situation between China and Taiwan, because China is going
well,
to say
no,
who's
China
gonna-
media already put out yesterday. China media put out a warning that Taiwan's going to be next.
Right.
They said, hey, if Kabul can be taken over within 10 days, we could do the same thing with Taiwan. And the whole point is, look, CNN reporter was in Kabul. She was in front of Taliban. She was doing an interview, and she thought it was very bizarre how Taliban is not being aggressive towards her, which was
No,
yeah.
Let me just,
I
let me
was.
just- I
Hold on.
understand. Let me
She
just
was. She openly said it was very bizarre for Taliban not being aggressive while being filmed, because one of the Taliban leaders said, "Hey, you guys came. You wasted your money. You wasted your time. Now get the hell out." So she was even shocked. But it goes back to our previous episode, how we said that the current Taliban that took over, it's a little bit more moderate than the previous one. They are being trained by Chinese and the Iranians on how to stay in power now. Okay? If you're going to start killing people and all this stuff, guess what? There's going to be another
they want the
uprising.
economy to function. They
Correct.
Want,
So now they're gonna take the model of being a little bit less aggressive. They even said we will work on women's rights in the country.
No. They said they asked them about how Taliban is going to do approach toward women's rights and freedoms and stuff. He said as long as it's under Sharia law.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's okay.
a word game.
So
Word
I'm just saying,
game.
as long as under Sharia law, means
Word
like,
game. It's a
whatever
word
they
game,
say,
bro.
right?
Well,
Whatever
it's a freaking word
No,
game.
but that's CNN. It was funny because until the day before, she's like a blonde lady with open hair in an embassy compound and stuff. Next day, she's in black burqa, only just not covering her face. And the Taliban are chanting "Death to America" in front of the U.S. embassy
Yeah.
compound. And she
While
said,
she's taping.
No, she said that they're chanting "Death to America," but somewhat not very much aggressive.
It's like she was reporting for
Jesus
Antifa and BLM.
It's like buildings burning and the stuff is mostly peaceful.
Mostly
protests.
peaceful
Mostly
protests. This
peaceful.
is how CNN reports.
This is just a disaster. I mean, it's just such a kick. And honestly, like a lot of people, served in Afghanistan, a lot of people that lost their lives over there, family sacrifice and all that, it's very tough on a lot of veterans.
Of course.
Looking at this stuff, it's just
They
worse than Vietnam.
they lost their closure, man. This is they
Right.
a lot of people came back with PTSD. A lot of these soldiers who will have a lifelong injuries and
Then you ask
amputees,
yourself for what?
amputees, PTSD, burns, many other injuries, man. Like this was not. This is not going to be good closure for them. But anyways,
One other thing I was talking today.
before we
some friends-
continue,
close this,
please share hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, pass the word around, leave your comments below. The whole concept of a war is for somebody to win. In this war, Taliban won. I'm sorry to say. U.S. did not win. U.S. did, for 20 years, they kept saying, oh, we're winning. We did not win. This is definitely a defeat
I've
for the
repeated
U.S.
here many times when we had discussions about the actual power, like a military actual field power. I said, whoever controls the ground, right? We are human beings. We live on earth. We live on land, right? Yeah, you operate in ocean, whatever. Obviously, naval capability is important. But at the end, if you're going to control a population, control a country, control territory that's most likely is just land, right? So you need to control land. And the Taliban has been controlling vast swaths of land, rural areas in Afghanistan for a long time. So whoever controls land, that's going to be the winner of the battlefield. It doesn't matter what they have. They could have just, baton and sticks. If they control land and with that baton and a stick, they can just hold their adversaries at bay and away from them, that's what it is. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just sleep at night, somebody just comes and just, smash your head with a rock. If that's a weapon but is effective, that allows them to hold that ground and that means you are afraid as adversary to get into their things. It's like a cities, it's rough neighborhoods. They say, oh, don't go over there at night, or just don't go over there at all, You have rough people over there. If you're not from there, they're going to rough you up. So it's dangerous. You take a risk. So you know that. Like even here in U.S., like there are areas, bad cities, whatever, in big cities, areas like that. But what was interesting, we had a lot of discussions about calamities. This was and is going to be, obviously you look at the looting and stuff is going to happen and some crimes and all that. It showed the importance of how do you store your life's value matters. Because I know people, when I was there, just, they had different shops and all that. If you were a jeweler, you were dealing in gold, silver, or that kind of precious metals and things, your whole store, you can just put it in a bag and hide it or just take it out of the country. But if you had other goods, you're selling furnitures and stuff, or you're in a property, you have a land, I'm sorry, the Taliban is going to come and look, oh, that's nice. Get the hell out of over here. This is going to be the compound for Sheikh so-and-so. It's going to be just living is like Chavistas, it's just South America. Your house property, in a situation like that, you get nice property, somebody's going to come and take it.
Of course.
Or you have to leave it, obviously, because if you have something nice, that means you were involved with the government or something, or they're going to come and just take it. So the only thing that you can just possibly take, obviously they're not mentioned to the cryptocurrency anyways, so that just left it with precious metal and some jewels and stuff like that.
So moral of the story is, don't take your country for granted, and
cherish the security you have.
Cherish the security that you have. Cherish the freedom that you have, because the more tyrants,
you have to fight for it.
The more tyrants in the government system who are trying to shove crap down your throat, are the actual Taliban, or the actual ISIS-like individuals, and you will eventually lose all your security. And this is why having a Second Amendment in place is very important.
Very important.
Very important to have the Second Amendment in place. This is why you see the leftists always fighting to get the Second Amendment away. And I'll give you a good example where in Canada, where a guy referred to his transgender daughter as daughter. He called her daughter, and the court threw him in jail. So with that, we're going to end it today. Guys, hit that like button.
Before we go that, actually Taliban started disarming people in Kabul and stuff. I don't know everywhere in Afghanistan, but asked people to turn in their weapons. They said now everything is secure, turn in your weapons.
Exactly.
So if you trust Taliban, you can trust the
leftists.
So
hit the like button, guys. Hit the share button.
Would ask that.
Exactly.
Turn in your weapon. We're peaceful over here. And soon you're going to have the heads rolling.
Absolutely.
The beheadings is going to be, show is going to start. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Subscribe to our channel. Put your comments below. We love to hear from you guys. Thank you.
God bless America.